All right, today's April 2nd, 2024. This is AI Agents Engineering Sync. I guess I have the first two things. First one is a question just for myself, I guess. Did we get the last two meetings recorded? Did they happen? Is there anything I need to catch up on? Or should I just read the agenda?
I think
Actually, yeah, I think I recorded at least one of them. I think I forgot to move it from Zoom.
Okay.
there was a sync last week between me, Kevin, Mon, and Mark. I'll ask it was sync as well, because the idea is that these AI agents will be part of model ops. So Mon and Kevin were asking about the current status and how this should go and how this should happen. But the TLDR, at least from that meeting that I got, is that for now it will be still under incubation. They have already a lot of their hands with model registry, and with just growing the team. But over the year, we might see this being passed on, already like graduating into a product team.
Okay. All right. So it makes sense to keep this sync on the calendar for the time being, not merge it with anything else.
Yeah, we invited them to this sync, but it's of ours for the both of them.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, I think they created another sync for all of us or something. MLOps and AI agents I don't know how long, but I think it's this AI agent sync is quite useful for for us.
I think if I think I moved the time an hour later, right? But if this is working less well for Mark, we should probably just move it back if you're not going to join anyway.
I think he's out of office this week or for a few days, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's traveling.
Okay. So, all right, we'll keep it at this time next week, and then if we need to adjust, we can. All right, cool.
Do you know, Eduardo, if that sync between the three of you was recorded last week? I forgot about it and meant to catch up on it.
I will ask Kevin and Mon if I think it was, but I'll ask Mon if it was recorded.
Cool. All right, next one, I just have been catching up, and I got MR started for the delete feature for agents, so you can look at it there. It's not quite ready for review, but I'll probably get it there today, so that's in progress. Eduardo.
On general, right. Yeah. Okay, so I have two MRs. One of them is because we added the add new version now, like update the version. It's not always true that the agent version is equal to the agent ID. Agent version ID is equal to the agent ID. So we would be calling the wrong ID for an agent version. So that that MR just updated is a very small one. And the other one is we were discussing like there was always some thought kind of appearing on the answer of the agent of the LLM. So I dug into that and find out that Anthropic requires a specific prompt format for chat. So I implemented that kind of stuff. And we have some post-processing on the messages, but that also requires some instructions. So to set up like the React cycle of using tools and everything, we do some processing. So I updated the agent prompt, the system prompt, to use this like longer version. Downside is that users wouldn't have full control anymore of their prompt. We are injecting stuff into their prompt, but yeah, to use chats, that's the way to go, I think, at least for now. And we are severely attached to Anthropic at this point, just because of the infrastructure, so it doesn't really matter. right now. So that updates the prompt for the new format. And what else? I'm working across the teams. There's a lot of confusion and what team's supposed to do what are the components of AI. This idea of working on air-gapped solution is causing a lot of changes in requirements on AI gateway on everywhere. So I'm working across these teams and trying to get everyone on the same page of where we want to be and how AI agents play this like the role, a central role in the final architecture of how we want to do AI at GitLab. I'm investing quite a bit of time there.
That's what I was calling out on 5 as well. So let's talk a bit more about that in a second.
Yeah.
So on the does the second MR happen to fix those 500 errors? Probably not, right?
I didn't look at the 500 errors in itself, especially because for some reason my calling the AI gateway is not working anymore, and I have to debug that. So that fixes, yeah. Okay. So I need to find out what is wrong. But I didn't see that 500 issue, but I'll take a look.
Okay.
And the thought that prepends it, like there's thought 500 error or something, that thought is prepended to every message, system message. So every time it breaks or something, it prepends thought, like the word thought. Meaning, yeah, it was by the well. And yeah, that was about it. It doesn't fix it, and I'll probably take a look at that eventually. But I'm looking, yeah, this 2 MRs is what I had for this week.
Yeah, I'm working on trying to extend Shakar's POC that he was developing for like the new AI gateway architecture. Trying to extend that with function calling to see how well, like, he's using light LLM, which is what I had experimented with early on. But I had never wired it up to use their sort of abstraction over like the function calling implementation that's supposed to be like LLM agnostic. So I'm trying to play around with that to see how well it works on Anthropic specifically. Because I had done like in my POC, like that like XML transformation to try to get it to work with Anthropic. And I don't think that the light LLM does anything that fancy. So I'm curious to see how well everything works. I think they just kind of dump it as JSON, which didn't work well in my experience. But yeah, I'm gonna test that out because it would be super convenient if we just could rely on that abstraction, didn't have to like do prompt engineering for the function calling piece for Vertex, separate from Anthropic, separate from whatever else the customer's bringing to the table. And I think there's some configuration options for like controlling how those functions get rendered. So maybe we can play around with that a little bit too, if needed. But did you take a look at the POC at Ordo that Shakar was working on? It looks like totally in line with what I was thinking that we would pursue.
Yes, okay. It looks like what like all of the agents UI that he implemented would be on GitLab side. The cycle makes a lot of sense. It just solidifies the vision that like the ideas. I really liked his POC.
And it was so simple compared to the current AI gateway implementation, but with so much additional value with like being able to plug in any LLM backend, and like the semantic routing piece that he implemented is huge. Like that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, but I took a look and it's quite useful. Of course, it's a POC, so each one of those parts would be essentially more complicated, but it gives a good idea of where we want to be, I think.
Agreed. Okay, on 5, it seems like there's still a ton of churn in these discussions, particularly like from the folks working on Cloud Connect. Like, I think they're concerned that what we're doing, trying to bring AI Gateway to self-managed, is at odds with their team's goals. I suggested just this morning in one of these threads to David O'Regan that maybe we should just create like a working group that meets weekly until everybody feels aligned, and he wants to have like a lighter weight process than that for now, but we'll see. I think it would be. I didn't feel like we started getting things hashed out until Summit, when we had the opportunity to sync up like with all the engineers, not just like, engineering managers and product managers. I think it was good having everybody, product, engineering managers, and engineers in the same room. So that's what I was kind of trying to drive out with the working group. But we'll see how it goes for now. I'm concerned about him like designating DRIs for each piece and then only having those DRIs talk to each other, because I feel like that's doesn't feel like it attacks the problem head on, I guess.
I think the problem is not right now. Well, it's connecting the dots of all the elements that are happening. So it's not really about up to date what every team is doing, but just have a solid vision of how things connect and which part plays which role, where do we want to go, and things like that. A lot of people haven't. A lot of things changed in the last 2 months with custom models, with AI Gateway. Until last year, it was a .com or a GitLab managed exclusive thing. Not even GitLab managed, it was a GitLab.com exclusive thing. So within the last 2 months, we have custom models, we have AI agents becoming a larger thing. So yeah, it's not surprising that the idea that they had in mind is being like, a lot of the assumptions that they had is being like, are being tested right now. And they will lead to different decisions and different changes to the code base that they were not expecting. So the assumptions need to change, and we need to communicate better how these assumptions change.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that surprised me the most was this, what are they calling it? That buildable units thing. I forgot the exact term.
Yeah,
unit primitives. That like all of that was new information to me,
and as well.
Very, very surprising that they're trying to do like fine-grained billing on individual Duo features, because that's a piece that I think is like fundamentally incompatible with AI agents, right? Like, so we've been talking about, like, remember, I felt like one of the outcomes from the conversations at Summit was that, like, rather than having a global prompt that addresses every feature, right, that Duo as a product would be this sort of multi-agent thing where we would have a semantic routing layer, like, along the lines of what Shakar started on the POC, where we would route to the appropriate agent to answer a question, right? Which is a much more robust way to implement new Duo features, and in fact would allow customers to like add capabilities to Duo potentially, right, on their own without like being tied to any particular LLM backend or any particular like prompt templating or anything like that. But if they're like saying that like doc search is a billable feature, and I don't know, like, and fixing a vulnerability is a billable feature, and we're going to charge for these things separately. That doesn't make any sense. We're basically like charging people for like different prompts that we've developed, which just feels like picking up
think
pennies in
it's-
front of the steamroller.
I don't think it's incompatible. I think it's like unit primitives are gonna be how we package these things for sale. Right now it's confusing exactly because we don't have AI agents in place, right? Since we don't have AI agents in place, the unit primitives enclose the prompt itself. But for me, unit primitives, and when you put AI agents together, you create AI agents, and a unit primitive would be one of these agents that you sell.
No, I'm not saying it's like
Yeah.
that it can't be implemented from a technical perspective. I'm just saying I don't think that makes any sense from a billing or product perspective, because like if we did that and we charged people for particular pre-built agent configs, it's open source. I'm just going to copy that text and put it into my own agent. Done. I'll bring my own key, not pay for Duo, right? Because it's the same. And I just think it also, like, I was imagining a scenario where people can more easily contribute new features to Duo just by providing prompts that are tailored to a particular feature, right? If we have all these, like, if we're all uptight about like how we build that stuff, like nobody's going to contribute new functionality because it's going to be gated behind, right? Like, I don't know. It just removes all incentive for open source contributors to improve it, you know, because they'd be better off just not pre-baking it into GitLab so that it's free.
Yeah.
I guess I was under the impression that we were charging people for LLM completions, right? With maybe some margin on top of that. And this takes it much, much further than I would have thought we would go, where we're not just trying to recoup costs from the API calls, plus value add on top of that, but we're like, yeah, just, I don't know, it feels so arbitrary.
This is different from kind of the architectural discussion, right? Like
So I think it plays into it because I think we're thinking about implementing this different, and you know, I feel like Sid's vision initially was like, we're creating the open source version of custom GPTs, right? And this charging per agent or charging per various prompts just feels like, you know, it doesn't intersect cleanly. It feels like,
I think the billing is going to be different from self-managed to GitLab managed. So Cloud Connect and .com or dedicated are GitLab managed, right? So on there we have the possibility of charging for LM things, but for self-managed we can bill only per feature, not per usage in itself, because it's all self-managed, right? So I think we'll have different billable structures. AI agents will be its own thing.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That sounds complicated to me, and like I feel like we already charge like $5 per user per whatever, and no, even more, right? It's like 15. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's like why would we make it more complicated from a technical perspective, cost more money from the user, and like close off open source? It just seems, yeah, I don't know. I don't like it.
No.
Okay. Well, do we have kind of a next step on this? It seemed I thought, Eduardo, that you were getting started on an architecture blueprint. Did I see that?
I am.
Okay.
I mean, trying to.
That feels like a good next step to try to get some alignment, because then at least some stuff is getting written down.
I'm working with Jesse and with Shakar as well, and other folks to just right now it's at a brain dump level. So I just dumped everything to Google Docs, but I want to start tomorrow already on codifying this into a blueprint.
Did you see the README on that project too?
Yeah,
the POC project. Okay, yeah, because I felt like that was also a good start.
Yeah, so I'm gonna work together with Shakar on that. I think he is out of office for a few days, but
okay.
I think Shakar gets it, and he's moving over to AI framework, right? for one of those
He
teams?
he's the principal on Create, which is code Create. So he's pretty involved. Jesse is the principal on Managed and AI powered or something. So she is also pretty active on it.
Yeah, I feel like we were really aligned with Jesse and Shakar coming out of Summit and beyond. It's just, I think the Cloud Connector folks getting them up to speed is what's missing right now.
Well,
But yeah, I think from our perspective, I'm going to wait to see how the lightweight process that David O'Regan is apparently setting up goes. It doesn't look like it involves a sync. It looks like it's async status updates, but hopefully we start getting some traction next week when he gets all that going.
Cool. Okay,
all right.
I need to go.
Yep. One more question for me. Is anyone working on document uploads?
No, we intentionally punted on that, I think, in the last thing. So let me try to get you that recording. But there's like work being done to get like semantic search working on Elasticsearch. And that would be like the logical place to implement that. But if we aren't able to leverage something like that, basically the vector storage backend, right? If we aren't able to leverage something like that, we would be building a lot of pieces ourselves, and we just didn't think it was worth it to put all that effort into it.
Okay.
Because it'll change. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, if you get that recording, send it over. I'd love to watch it.
Cool. And it looks like it's on March 26th. The bullet is like 1H, like I2 document upload there.
Got it. Okay. I'll read that again and just try to catch up on that stuff. So cool. All right. Thanks,
Cool.
everyone.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.